We're honored to be here and to share our stories. So we'll jump right in because I think you already have heard a lot of logistics. So our story begins when two of our close friends conspired against us and thought we were perfect for each other. One of my friends, I had lived in Chicago, and one of my friends had moved from Chicago to Toledo. And one day called me up and said, Noor, there's this guy who's perfect for you. He's Palestinian and he's Muslim. Perfect. And so I was very against marriage at the time. I was studying for my MCAT and applying for medical schools and was like, please just keep marriage away, keep marriage away. But clearly Naseeb had a different plan.
Unlike Noor, I actually mean it when I say I really wasn't ready to get married, nor did I want to get married at the time. I had just started law school and wasn't ready for all the responsibilities that came with marriage.
So a month after my friend told me about Eyaad, I got an email from him. It was a very nice email, and I decided to move forward with it after I spoke with my family about it. So we spoke via email for a month or so. And then after numerous prayers for guidance, or istikhara, we decided to go ahead with an engagement. Interestingly, when we got engaged, differences clearly were apparent. For starters, my family thought that we were being really open-minded and that I was really lucky that they allowed Eyaad and I to speak before we were engaged. And on the other hand, Eyaad's family thought that we were being very traditional. So there, whether or not we were traditional or if we were being open-minded, my family thought we had a love marriage. I think on the other hand, others thought that we were moving too quickly. And so there was pressure about get engaged quickly, get married quickly, or take your time, get to know each other.
Yeah, so I mean, the first time I met Noor, it was at her family's house with my family. So I mean, and even that might have been moving, even that might have been untraditional for Noor's family.
Definitely. So we were engaged for about 8 months and got married, started our life together, and very quickly we realized that things were going wrong. I didn't think I realized it until Eyaad told me, Noor, this was a mistake. We're not right for each other, but we're stuck. And I was like, wait, what? Shocked and angry and lonely and far away from my family, I didn't know what to do, so I quickly did what I thought was best and just tried to my best to be the wife that I thought Eyaad wanted. And very quickly I lost who I was. I didn't really know what we needed and what needed to be fixed, and so I sought out help. Coming from a very big and very close family from Chicago, I went to my mom, I went to my dad, although everyone told me not to. And I went to Eyaad's family. I went to his mom, I went to his sister. Following what I thought was, Sharia law, that go to someone from his family and someone from her family. And they tried very hard to help us.
Well, we had really different family backgrounds. Noor's family was a really big and close-knit family. Well, my parents got divorced when I was 5 or 6 years old. I had a choice growing up. Do I live with my mom? Do I live with my dad? So it was harder for me to really bring that family element into this whole process.
To give you a little background, Eyaad was in law school, his first year of law school, working full-time as an engineer and going to school full-time. And so he had a lot of stuff going on. I, on the other hand, had nothing other than the marriage. And so I didn't have work and I didn't have school at the time, and what I thought I was doing in terms of being a good wife traditionally, cooking and cleaning and just being there, quickly turned into why are we moving into a traditional marriage?
And so we found ourselves in a situation where we needed help, and we tried talking to family, but there was a lot of social stigma even saying that, hey, we have a problem. And we had just gotten married. And so everyone was all excited. We had just gone through this big wedding. We had almost 800 people at our wedding. So I mean, the whole community knew us. And so, it was dramatic to say, a month after we got married, hey, we're having problems. And so we tried working through it on our own, then we tried expanding it to family, and then we reached a point where after talking to imams and talking to our family members, we realized that the people around us didn't have the resources, didn't have the training, didn't have the ability to help us. And it wasn't for lack of effort. Everyone wanted to see us succeed. Our whole community wanted to see us succeed.
So like he had said, our family, our friends, community members all tried to help us in many ways. And at some point, I think our mothers decided to take matters into their own hands and decided to come and help us together. And unfortunately, that didn't really work. 2 weeks after that, I decided that things were enough, and I moved away. So we separated. We separated for a while. And we separated with the intention that we're getting a divorce. I mean, it wasn't this. It was very. It was a very proper separation. Like, it wasn't dramatic in the sense that anyone was in a bad situation. But we were trying to separate as civilly as possible at this point, a year into our marriage. Now, separating wasn't easy. The decision for me as a Muslim, as an Arab woman, to move away, to leave my house, was very much shunned upon. And so going out into the community when people found out, I constantly felt that I had to validate why I was doing that. Luckily for me, however, I had a very supportive family. And although they had tried so hard to support us and to get involved in many different ways, when we decided to separate, and when I decided to move forward with a divorce, they decided that it wasn't the best idea for me to go back to Chicago, but to continue my career. I had decided during the engagement not to become a doctor, sorry everyone, but to go into social work. And I had been accepted at the School of Social Work at the University of Michigan. So rather than move to Chicago and live amongst my family and see them move on with their lives, I decided to move to Ann Arbor, which was about a 45-minute drive away from Eyaad, and rebuilt myself there. I realized I had lost myself. And so from then on, we decided just to cut all ties. And so for a while, we didn't speak, and our families didn't pressure us to speak, and just decided to move forward with the divorce, but taking it cautiously. So we separated. Noor says I went 2 months without talking to her. I said I went 6 months without talking to her. But when we separated, like I said, we had the intention of just going through the divorce. But neither one of us could pull the trigger. Neither one of us could go through the process. I had done all the legal research of what it entails to get a divorce. Noor and I were looking at it from an Islamic point of view, what it's going to entail to take a divorce, to get a divorce, and we ultimately felt like we needed to go to an imam. Just to finalize the process. And so, long story short, we found an imam who was my Islamic school teacher growing up. And we went and met with him. And we told him our story. And he was like, yeah, if you want a divorce, you can get a divorce today. But you're going to come back at some point, and you're going to be mad at me for why I let you get a divorce. And so before we go through this process, I want you guys to go talk to a Muslim counselor. And up until this point, we had already spoken to a non-Muslim counselor. And so I was hesitant in the sense that, we go talk to another counselor. There was already so much social stigma and pushback I was getting from why would you even go need to talk to a counselor? You can figure this out on your own. You're a smart guy, very logical. And so I was hesitant. But the imam that we met with knew enough that he didn't know how to help us, but there were people in the community who could help us. So as opposed to him sitting there giving us a hadith, giving us a lecture, giving us an ayah to tell us to get back together. Not to say that he didn't. I mean, we appreciated it, but even past that. He ultimately got us in contact with a very good counselor within the community. Now, I think it's important to note that we had thought about going to imams and had gone to different imams in the past, but there was just a social stigma around it also there. whether, I think Dr. McFarland talked about it being okay with me, but not okay with Eyaad at some point, and sometimes okay with Eyaad, but not me. It was very difficult to find someone that you can relate to or that just really looked for your best interest at heart. We were very lucky to find someone like that. And what made this imam someone who moved us into eventually staying married, I think, was that he recognized the issues within our marriage, recognized the problems, and really was an ally and an advocate, but also was good within the community to connect us with someone who could properly help us. So again, I think that our situation is not unusual. I apologize, I'm stuttering because this is really hard, harder than I expected to be. But it's been 4 years now since our separation. We were married, we were together for a year, and then we separated for another year. And so this took a lot of time. And since then, it's been almost 3.5 or 4 years.
So, I mean, our story isn't uncommon. I'm sure everyone could relate one way or another to a recently married couple who were going down the divorce process. But I feel that the process that we took ultimately got us the results that, inshallah, every couple in this situation finds. And so what interested us in this research and this project is, without realizing everything that they're doing, I feel that the process that we took is ultimately a model that could work. And we figured it out on our own with those around us. And so, I mean, in closing, alhamdulillah, the process that we took got us to a great place, and our marriage is strong, and inshallah everyone who is in this situation will have the same results.